Mia had always been the kind of girl who seemed destined for greatness. Her long, raven black hair framed a face that was both striking and intense. Her eyes a deep shade of blue that seemed to pierce through the very soul of anyone who dared to meet her gaze. At school, she was known for her intelligence and ambition, qualities that made her a natural candidate for the prestigious scholarship that was the talk of the town. But beneath her calm exterior, Mia harbored a secret fear. A fear that her dreams could be snatched away by the very person she called her best friend. Zoe was everything Mia wasn't. With her golden curls and radiant smile, she exuded a charm that made her the darling of both students and teachers alike. Yet, there was something unsettling about Zoe's popularity. It was as if she wore a mask, a facade that hid a much darker reality. Despite her outward friendliness, Zoe's eyes often glinted with a cold, calculating light, and Mia couldn't shake the feeling that her friend was hiding something sinister. The scholarship was their ticket to a future beyond the confines of their small town, and both girls were determined to win it. As the competition intensified, Mia noticed a pattern. Zoe seemed to have an uncanny ability to anticipate the exam questions, always one step ahead. It wasn't long before Mia stumbled upon the truth. Zoe's success wasn't due to her academic prowess, but rather a secret relationship with Mr. Thompson, the history teacher who held significant sway over the scholarship committee. Mr. Thompson was a man of contradictions. On the surface, he was the epitome of a dedicated educator, his graying hair and spectacles giving him an air of wisdom. But beneath that respectable exterior lay a man driven by desires that were as grotesque as they were dangerous. His obsession with Zoe was a dark secret, one that he guarded fiercely, using his influence to manipulate the scholarship process in her favor. Mia's discovery was accidental. One evening, as she stayed late at school to finish a project, she heard voices coming from Mr. Thompson's classroom. Peering through the slightly ajar door, she saw Zoe and Mr. Thompson locked in an embrace, their whispers filled with promises and threats. Mia's heart raced, her mind a whirlwind of emotions, betrayal, anger, and a burning desire for justice. Torn between her loyalty to Zoe and her own ambitions, Mia felt the weight of her decision like a leaden cloak draped across her shoulders. Her friendship with Zoe had always been a complex tapestry of shared secrets and silent rivalries. But now, the threads were unraveling, revealing a truth so dark and twisted that it threatened to consume them both. As Mia approached Zoe, her heart pounded with a mixture of fear and determination. The hallway was eerily silent, the fluorescent lights casting a harsh glare on the polished linoleum floor. Mia could feel the eyes of unseen specters watching, judging, as she prepared to confront the person she once called her best friend. The confrontation was brutal, a verbal duel that left both girls wounded and raw. Words flew like daggers, each one slicing through the thin veneer of their friendship, exposing the festering wounds beneath. Zoe stood there, her eyes once warm and inviting now icy and devoid of warmth. Her voice, usually so melodious, dripped with venom as she warned Mia to stay silent. "You don't know what you're getting into, Mia," Zoe hissed, her lips curling into a sneer. But Mia, driven by a sense of righteousness that burned hotter than the sun, refused to back down. She knew she had to expose the truth, no matter the cost. Her mind was a whirlwind of emotions, betrayal, anger, and a desperate longing for justice. The following day, Mia marched into the principal's office, her mind set on revealing the sordid affair. Her footsteps echoed in the empty corridors, a steady drumbeat of defiance. The office was a sterile, unwelcoming place, its walls lined with certificates and accolades that seemed to mock her impending downfall. As she stood before the principal, Mia's heart raced, her palms slick with sweat. But before she could utter a word, Mr. Thompson appeared, his presence as suffocating as a shroud. With a calmness that belied the storm within, he accused her of cheating, his voice a silken thread of deceit that wrapped around her throat. choking the truth from her lips. Mr. Thompson presented fabricated evidence, a meticulously crafted web of lies that painted Mia as a desperate student willing to do anything for the scholarship. The betrayal was swift and devastating, a tidal wave that swept away everything Mia had worked for. Her dreams, once so vibrant and full of promise, lay shattered at her feet, shards of hope glinting like broken glass. As the principal's verdict echoed in her ears, Mia felt the ground shift beneath her, the world tilting on its axis as she was expelled, cast out into the wilderness of disgrace. As Mia packed her belongings, the whispers of her classmates echoed in her ears, each one a reminder of her fall from grace. The locker room, usually a cacophony of laughter and chatter, was now a tomb, its silence as oppressive as a leaden sky. Mia's hands trembled as she stuffed her books and personal items into her backpack, her mind a maelstrom of confusion and despair. Zoe, meanwhile, played the part of the innocent victim, her tears convincing everyone of her fabricated innocence. Her performance was flawless, a masterclass in manipulation that left Mia reeling. The scholarship was awarded to Zoe, the ceremony a cruel mockery of everything Mia had fought for. As Zoe ascended the stage, her smile radiant and triumphant, Mia watched from the shadows, her heart a hollow shell. The applause was deafening, a symphony of betrayal that reverberated through the auditorium, drowning out the silent scream that tore from Mia's soul. In that moment, Mia understood the true cost of her pursuit of justice, a cost measured not in accolades or achievements, but in the loss of everything she held dear. The days that followed were a blur of despair and isolation for Mia. Her parents, once so proud of her achievements, now looked at her with a mix of disappointment and confusion. The town, always quick to judge, turned its back on her, leaving Mia to navigate the ruins of her life alone. The whispers followed her everywhere, a constant reminder of her disgrace, their venomous tendrils wrapping around her heart, squeezing until she could barely breathe. But Mia was not one to be easily defeated. As she stood on the threshold of the school, watching Zoe receive the scholarship, a new resolve took root within her. The world might have turned against her, but she would not be silenced. With each step she took away from the school, Mia vowed to rebuild her life, to rise from the ashes of betrayal stronger and more determined than ever. However, the darkness that had been brewing beneath the surface was far from over. The tension at school reached a boiling point, simmering like a cauldron ready to spill over. Among the students was Alex, a quiet, withdrawn boy who had endured relentless bullying and felt invisible in the eyes of teachers and peers alike. His pain had festered into a toxic blend of rage and despair, a storm that had been building for far too long. On a cold, gray morning when the sky hung low and heavy with the promise of rain, Alex walked into the school armed, his heart pounding with a grim resolve. His footsteps echoed through the empty corridors, each one a harbinger of the chaos to come. As he approached the main hallway, his mind was a cacophony of voices, each one urging him forward. "They'll never ignore you again," one voice whispered, while another taunted, "Show them what you've become." His grip tightened on the weapon, its cold metal a stark contrast to the heat of his anger. The first shot rang out, a sharp crack that shattered the morning calm and sent students and teachers scrambling for cover. The echoes of gunshots reverberated through the hallways, a terrifying symphony of chaos and fear that seemed to stretch on forever. Mia, who had returned to the school to collect her final belongings, found herself caught in the crossfire. The sound of gunfire was a visceral shock, a thunderous roar that set her heart racing and her mind spinning. She ducked into a nearby classroom, her breath coming in short, panicked gasps. The room was a chaotic mess of overturned desks and scattered papers, the air thick with the acrid scent of fear. As she crouched behind a desk, her heart pounding in her chest, she thought of all the dreams she had yet to fulfill, the life she had yet to live. Her mind raced with images of a future that now seemed so fragile, so easily shattered. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. In a moment of bravery, Mia pushed aside her fear, her resolve hardening like steel. She knew she couldn't stay hidden while others were in danger. With a deep breath, she stepped out of her hiding place, her eyes scanning the chaos for any sign of students in need. Her movements were swift and purposeful, her mind focused on one goal: getting as many people to safety as possible. "Follow me!" she called out to a group of terrified students huddled in the corner, her voice steady despite the fear that clawed at her insides. Her actions were selfless, a testament to the strength and courage that had always defined her. As she guided the students towards an exit, her heart beat a steady rhythm of hope and determination. But as they reached the end of the hallway, a single deafening shot rang out. The sound was a brutal punctuation to the chaos, a sharp, final note that echoed through the halls. Mia felt a searing pain in her side, her body crumpling to the ground as if in slow motion. Her vision blurred, the world around her fading to a wash of gray and shadow. The last thing she saw was the terrified faces of the students she had tried to save, their cries a haunting symphony that followed her into the darkness. As the darkness closed in, Mia's thoughts drifted to the life she had hoped to live, the dreams that now slipped through her fingers like grains of sand. Her final breath was a silent promise, a vow to protect those she loved, even in death. And though her life was cut short, her legacy would endure, a beacon of hope and courage in a world that so desperately needed it. The school shooting was over in minutes, but the scars it left behind would last a lifetime. As the town mourned the senseless loss of life, Mia's sacrifice became a symbol of hope and resilience. Her death, though tragic, was not in vain. In the aftermath, the truth about Zoe and Mr. Thompson's affair was finally exposed, the scandal unraveling with a ferocity that left no one unscathed. Zoe, her reputation in tatters, was forced to confront the consequences of her actions. The scholarship, once a symbol of her triumph, became a haunting reminder of the price she had paid for her deceit. As for Mr. Thompson, his career was destroyed, his name forever associated with betrayal and disgrace. In the end, it was Mia who emerged victorious, her legacy living on in the hearts of those she had touched. Her story, a tale of courage and sacrifice, became a beacon of light in a world shrouded in darkness. And as the town gathered to honor her memory, they were reminded of the power of truth and the enduring strength of the human spirit. Mia's journey had come to an end, but her impact would be felt for generations to come, a testament to the unyielding power of hope and the indomitable force of love.